Hey everybody, I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 6 English lesson on frequently confused words. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. We're doing grade 6. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of frequently confused words, well, let's say the chapter is going to be frequently confused words. All right, and our chapter is frequently confused words. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade 6. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of frequently confused words, it is to use the correct frequently confused words. All right. So we said the lesson is to use the correct frequently confused words. All right, so when it comes to frequently confused words, words that we constantly or frequently or always or all the time use, right? So when it comes to frequently confused words, so we have certain words, right, that are often confused with another word. And that can either be because the words look the same or it's almost the same, right? Or probably the way you say it. It's using the one word instead of the other word. So certain words are often confused with another word. So in your writing, so when you write, then you need to pay close attention to these words and make sure that you're using it correctly. Because like I say, there can be words that we use and you're using it in the wrong context, or you're using it because the spelling is different, or you're using the wrong word instead of using the other word that means whatever it should mean within that context that you are, for example, focusing on. So they say in your writing, pay close attention to these words and make sure you're using them correctly. For example, if we look at the word fewer and less, the words fewer and less, they have similar meanings. So the word fewer and the word less, they have similar meanings, but you need to use them differently. So once again, if we look at the word fewer and you look at the word less, right? Fewer and less, they have similar meanings, right? It's similar. But the word fewer and the word less, you need to use differently. All right. So we're going to look at an example of how we can use fewer and how we can use less, right? Because remember, we said that as much as it is similar or similar in meaning, we need to use them differently. Now we're starting with fewer. So we use fewer to describe things that you can count. So countable things. So we describe things that we can count, all the countable things. We say fewer. So you use fewer to describe things that you can count, like pencils and pens and discs and rulers and erasers. Those are things that you can count. And then we need to use the word less to describe things that you cannot count, uncountable things like water and air and dust. Those are things that you cannot count. All right. So once again, we said fewer, it describes things that you can count. So all the countable things that you can count, we make mention of fewer. And things that you cannot count, uncountable things. And we said fewer is countable things and less is things that we cannot count, right? And fewer people than example, if we make an example here, it says fewer people than expected came to watch the race, meaning people you can count. Our town receives less snow this winter due to the heavy wave. So you see snow, less snow, because we can't count the snow. So once again, we use the word fewer or few when we make mention of countable things, things that you can count, but we use the word less when we cannot count things. All right. Then if we go on to the next one, here we have words like affect and effect. But remember, if we just specifically say it, it's like we're just saying affect, effect, right? So now it's gonna seem as if I can use anyone. But even if you were to say it a bit slower, you'll see that the first one is affect, whereas the second one is effect. And affect and effect has a lot of similar spell. Firstly, that's a similar spelling, and the sound can sometimes sound the same, but they have different meanings, and we are going to get to that meanings now. All right, and if we look at an example of affect and effect, right? It says affect is usually a verb. It's an action that means to change or to influence. So if we look at an example of how we use effect, right, or affect, it says affect is a verb that means to change or to influence. That is affect. Something, it's something that affects you. But now effect is usually a noun, and it means an outcome or result. What is the effects of you going to school every single day? Or what is the effects of you studying, before your tests? So the outcome, that is what it means. All right. And if we look at an if we look at an example, right? If we look at an example, it says our team was losing, but I tried not to let that affect my performance. So our team was losing, but it did not I did not let that affect my performance. And if we use the word effect, right? The new medicine has an amazing effect, the outcome that it has on cold symptoms. And that is basically the differences in how we can use these words. Because remember, we use the same word, frequently confused words. All right. So once again, we see that when it comes to frequently confused words, there are certain words that are often confused with another in your writing. And remember, we said when it comes to frequently confused words, right, you need to pay close attention to words and make sure you are using them correctly. All right. And we said if we use the word fewer, fewer should be used to describe something or things that you can count. And if we use the word fewer, right, it's things that we can count, which is countable nouns. But now if we use the word less, right, less is there to describe things that you cannot count. All right, so we said fewer we use to describe people that you can count or things that you can count, and less it is used to describe things that you cannot count. Then we have the word affect and effect, right? And we see when it comes to affect and effect, this is actually one of the most common words that is being used in a correct way. All right. And we say when it comes to affect and it comes to effect, we said affect is usually a verb that means to change or to influence. Whereas effect is usually a noun that means an outcome of results. All right. And remember when it comes to confused words, frequently means it's like all the time. All right. So now we're going to a plus students.ca, where we're going to go over frequently confused words, and then we're going to our test. All right, and our lesson is to use the correct frequently confused words. All right, so now we need to, for example, choose the correct word, right, to complete the sentences. It says, according to the United States Constitution, the president cannot. I'm going to give you two words and then you are going to choose the correct word. So he cannot, do we say accept, or do we say accept? So according to the United States Constitution, The president cannot accept option one or accept option two, a personal gift from a leader of another country without without the approval of Congress. So if we were to choose the correct word, is it option one, accept, or option two? Because this is basically us correcting the words. So accept option one or accept option two. Which one is correct? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, we would say, according to the United States Constitution, the president cannot accept option one, accept with an A double C E P T. He cannot accept a personal gift from a leader of another country without the approval of Congress. Yes, well done. Option one is correct. The second one says, all right, so we say museums. So museums allow visitors to experience art, history, and cultures through engaging and educational exhibitions. All right. All right. And remember, we said that there's certain words that is frequently confused words because we use it that same word in different contexts, right? But the spelling can be wrong, how it's used can be wrong also. All right. Here it says we have every day and every day. So basically, it's just where it's almost like the word is split into two. That is every day. All right. So every day, if we look at the word every day in two words, every and day, it is two words and it is used to describe something that happens once every 24-hour period. All right. So now we're going on to the next one. It says the yoga mat, the so not the yoga mat, the yoga instructor told students to basically sit. So the yoga instructor told the students to sit. So do we continue with the word sit, or we're going to say sit? Which one is correct? Sit or sit? The yoga instructor told the students to sit or sit down on their mats and stretch for several minutes to warm up before the lesson started. And if we were to choose the correct one, then we would say the yoga instructor told us students to sit down. Oh no, sorry, it is to sit down. I am reading my own things here. So the yoga instructor told us students to sit down. Sit, S-I-T, sit down on the mat and stretch for several minutes to warm up before the lesson started. So sit down, S-I-T, not sit, which is S-E-T. All right, so now let's go to our test, right, where we're going to be using the correct frequently confused words. All right, and it says, do you know option one, who's leading the discussion at the next week's book club meeting? Or option two, do you know who's leading the discussion at next week's book club meeting? We need to choose the correct word. And if we were to choose the correct option, is it option one, who's? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, then we will say, do you know who's leading the discussion at next week's book club meeting? Which one is correct? Option one or option two? All right. The next one says, oh, all right, so that one is correct. So whose, and remember we use the word whose apostrophe s because that means who is, for example. So we need to complete the text of the next one. We need to complete the text with the correct word. The correct one for the first one was option two. For the first one, the correct one was option two, whose, which is W-H-O apostrophe and S. All right, it says the last time we were all together was for our grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary celebration in 2012. So all together, is it option one all together, two words, or option two, one word altogether. All right, and it says to complete the text with the correct answer or the correct word. It says the last time we were. So we say altogether number one or altogether number two was for grandparents' 50th. All together. And we chose option one, the two words, it is all, and the second one is together. So all together, which was option one. Then we're going on to option, the next one says complete the text with the correct word. You see, even when it comes to this word, lose and lose, right? This is also a word where, in general, even myself, I get confused between these two words, between lose with one O and lose with a double O. So this is also a word, right, where people constantly get confused with. I'm not sure if it's also you, right? But I, for one, I get confused also with these words, and that is what this lesson is about. It's the fact that we have specific words that we use, but it's words that is constantly confusing, right? So if we look at the difference between these two words, if we look at the difference between these two words, the first one, lose, right, with one O, or let's say the one with the double O, lose with a double O, right? These two words are always confused because they are almost spelled the same or similar, or they sound, a lot alike, right? So if we look at the word with a double O, lose, right? It's basically showing it's not secured, it is not tight. It's something that is loose. It's not secured, it is not tight. That is what it means, right? And then if we look at the first word, lose, Lose, this is where you lose things. I lost my things, I lost my ring, I lose my earrings, I lose my money. That is what it means, right? So the one O is to lose certain things, but option two is like when something it's not tight, it's sitting loose. That is what it means. So now it says early bathing suits were made with fabrics that was, do we say, loose and heavy, unlike the material used for modern swimsuits. So which one is correct? Option one, to show that something is misplaced, it is lost, or option two, to show that something is not tight. Which one is correct? Option one or option two? Something that is not tight. So lose or lose. All right, yes. And if we were to choose the correct answer, then we would say early bathing suits were loose, which means that it was not tight. All right, so this word with a double O means that it is something that is not tight, it is not secured, whereas the first option is where you lose something. I lost something, right? All right, so option two is correct. Well done. All right, Here we also have words, right, that we also often get confused with, right? The words to. If you look at all three of those words, all three of the words, it sounds the same, but the spelling is different. It sounds the same, the spelling and the meaning is different. So here it says extremophiles are organisms that can survive in environments that are, do we say, too extreme for other organisms. Thermophiles, for instance, are extremophiles that thrive in extreme heat. Too, that says it is too extreme. Is that option one, two, option two, or option three, two? Which one is correct? It's like we are putting emphasis on a too extreme. Two. All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, and then we will choose option three, which is two. It's almost like we are dragging it, right? We are dragging it. So option three is correct. Well done. All right. The next one, then and then. Then and then. It says at 4,400 words, the United States Constitution is shorter. Do we say shorter option one, then, or option two, than the written constitution of any other major country in the world? So shorter than or shorter than, which one is correct? Look at the word again. It says it's shorter than. Do we say shorter than or shorter than? If we look at the word then, right? This first word then, which is THEN, it is when we talk about time. It's then, it is now, we're talking about time. Option two, then with an A, is when we're talking about comparisons. We are comparing something. Yeah, we are comparing because it says at 4,400 words, the United States Constitution is shorter than any other constitution of any other major countries in the world, meaning that we are comparing the United States Constitution to all the other constitutions of other countries around the world. So we are comparing. So is it option one or option two? Are we saying then option one or then option two? And if we are comparing, right? Remember we say that if we are comparing, then we use option two. Because option one is talking about time. We're making mention of time, then. But option two is where we are comparing. So option two is correct. All right, the next one says researchers have found that, do we say your or you're likely to remember negative experiences more accurate than positive experiences? So option one, your, or option two, your. Researchers have found that your option one or your option two likely to remember negative experiences more accurate than positive experiences. Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct option, right, then yes, we will say you were. You were. It's almost like saying, it's almost like if we were to break down that word, right? That is a contraction. Your is a contraction for you are. So if we were to read that word with you are, then we would say researchers have found that you are likely to remember negative experiences more accurate than positive experiences. So this word is a contraction and it means you are. So well done. Option two is correct. All right, the next one says flight data recorders. So, flight data recorders, also known as black boxes, are required on all commercial flights. Do we say they? Option one. Option two, they. Or option three, their. Their main purpose is to record important flight information that can be used to investigate crashes. So, do we say option one, their main purpose is to record important flight information? Or do we say option two, their main purpose is to record important flight information? Or option three, their main purpose is to record important flight information? Which one is correct? Option one, option two, option three. So option one, option two, or option three. Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct option, right, then we would say flight data records, also known as black boxes, are required on all commercial flights. Their main purpose is to record important flight information that can be used to investigate crashes. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on frequently confused words. And remember, we said with frequently confused words, right? It is words that either with the similar meaning or similar spelling, right? Or similar pronunciation of the words. And that kind of confuses us, right? Because now we don't know which one to use. But this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade sixes, for joining the class. And I really hope that you're going to have a good evening further. So, till next time, goodbye.